Hello, it is Selene here with Swanky Mountain, and I am coming today to talk to you about hats. I know it is October, and you see a lot of things on social media about Socktober, which is a thing and great, but frankly, I have not always been a sock knitter, and even now I'm still a very timid sock knitter. And so to me, October means hats. Means hats for camping, hats for cross-country meets, hats, excuse me, hats for football games, hats because there's going to be snow. And nothing feels better than having a hat. They also make great gifts and are quick knits or crochet projects. And I have both here today. I have crocheted hats and knit hats to show you. And I'm gonna show you 6 of my most favorite patterns that I've made thus far. And one bonus pattern, maybe. Yeah, and one bonus pattern now that I'm thinking about it. So let's start with crochet. For crochet hats, I have 2 here in person and then 1 have my Ravelry up so I can show you what I'm gonna do. So I have 3 hats here. This first hat is the bead stitch crochet hat, which I made with a single skein of Brisbane from Knitting Fever. This hat is super, oh, I totally put the seam in the front. There we go. Super adorable with or without a pom. And it is a super fun crochet project. For me, it had it had 2 stitches in it that I had never done before, but her video tutorials were fantastic. And you can find the bead stitch crochet hat on Ravelry. She has it as a paid or free pattern, but she's got video tutorials in there that were really fantastic. So this bead stitch, oh, I'm on the wrong side of my camera here. The bead stitch is here. And then she also has you crocheting into the 3rd loop, which creates these sections right here that are really, really fabulous. So let's talk yarn. This project was made with a bulky yarn, and I have a few really fabulous options for you. I have some Wonderland Tweedledee Dum in this really lovely gold color called the Crown. And this would be really smushy. I have more Brisbane options. Here is one of my favorites. This is called Smooth Toadfish, but I think this could make a really incredible, honestly, sweater or hat or any accessory. I do still have some more of this colorway as well if you love the pinks and the greens. And I have some really yummy running on yarn. So my second crochet hat is also a bulky pattern, and it is, I know, the sun hat is a little stiff, but I also honestly haven't washed it. It's lived on display here in the store. This is a fabulous beginner pattern because you crochet a rectangle and then you squish it all together. Let's see if I can, yep. You squish it all together here at the top and seam it. It uses double crochets into the back loop to create this ridge effect here. And switching colors is really easy, and she gives you several tips, but you could make it one solid piece as well. Totally up to you and what you want it to look like. I prefer this hat with a palm on it, and don't forget we do have lots of palms here. But this I made with the, pattern name. Just a second. It's thinking, I think this is like the 1.5 hour beanie. It took me longer than 1.5 hours. Let's be honest. Yeah, the 1.5 hour beanie. It did take me longer than 1.5 hours. I don't know. I don't know who made it in 1.5 hours, but it wasn't me. So, again, a free pattern, and you can purchase a printable PDF if you prefer. Free crochet patterns usually are attached to somebody's blog with a whole bunch of ads. So you have to kind of decide if you're willing to scroll past the ads or not. So, but I made this one out of Mountain Meadows Sundance yarn. I used Silverberry and Peak, which I do still have here in store. If you are wanting to learn how to crochet, to like do edging in your knitting or seaming, then this hat pattern would be a great introductory project for you. Or if you've been crocheting for a while and you want to learn how to do something new, this would be great. I also have, I guess, grabbed one color as I'm looking at my table of yarn. Like, I filled up a whole table and then I set my tripod above all of the yarn in the mess, but it's all here. But we do, I don't know why I only grabbed this one color, but I do have a bunch of solids of the Falkland Chunky as well, which is a super squishy, lovely, soft yarn that would work great for this or the bead stitch pattern as well. My third crochet hat has been a project that has been sitting in my queue for quite some time, and I am going to get it started maybe today, I don't know, here pretty soon, because I have the yarn all lined out here. Just have to scroll to it. Okay, what I'm going to be making is the Modish Mosaic hat, which is crocheted in a worsted weight yarn. This is a paid pattern. I don't believe that she offers it. Oh, it does. She does have it for free in the notes here. And she has both a kid, I mean, look at how adorable that is, and adult version. So you could make, she even has like a picture of her and her kid here. So you could make like matchy ones. I am going to make mine out of some Falkland worsted in this super fun, it's not Barbie pink, but it's definitely magenta, color of the year, Pantone color of the year, with my second color is going to be this Maxima from Manos del Uruguay that has been hanging out here in the store for a hot minute. So these are gonna be my two colors that I'm gonna use to make my Modish Mosaic hat, and this will be my palm for it. It just has a few little gray specks in there. And this palm is a button palm, so also a button onto the top of the hat, and then it has a little elastic piece that then hooks onto the button. I think that those, after trying the snap ones and the button ones and the ones where you just pull them through and tie them, the button ones are my favorite, because when I want to wash my hats, I can just pull the palm off. The buttons seem to attach better than the snap ones, in my opinion, and I don't have to fish the strings through every time I wash my hat to reattach my palm. So button ones are my favorite. Those are the ones that I carry the most in the store, but we do have the other options too, just depending on the time of year and what I can get in stock. Anyhow, worsted weighted yarn. So if this color combo isn't your cup of tea, we have lots of other options. I just pulled this blue and green off the shelf. I think that that could be really fun, especially for a little boy. And then I also, like, for something fun, you could do this pink with one of the various whites or creams that we have. You could even do these two pinks. Oh, that looks cool. Together, lots of options. So those are my 3 crochet patterns that I wanted to talk about. So now let's talk about knit patterns. And if you are a knitter and you've been waiting for the knit part, you can always try a crochet hat. They're a great option for you to try another craft with your yarn. Or if you're a crocheter and you're like, oh, I don't need to watch the rest of the video, well, maybe hang out for a minute, because you might get inspired to try some knitting through one of these hats, which is a great way to expand your skill set and try some new things. So let's start here with the waffle hat. This is a super beginner-friendly pattern. Looks great with or without a pom. Super fabulous. It is just knits and purls. And when you make it with like a really fabulous yarn, it is simply heavenly to wear. This one is made with the Malabrigio worsted, which is one of the yarns that I brought in a couple months ago, and it is seriously one of my favorites. Here I have it in Tiger Lily, which would be great for hunters or anybody that loves orange. And here it is in Cactus Flowers. I also have a really lovely orchid color along with some greens and blues and, excuse me. Yeah, just a whole rainbow of options, because this yarn is, and some variegated. That's right, I've got the Rosalinda. It's amazing. Great stitch definition, super fabulous yarn, crazy soft. It is, however, not a superwash. So if you are somebody who has to have a superwash, you have to be able to at least put it in the washing machine, that is not the yarn for you. You might prefer a Falkland worsted. Easy wash, you can put it in the washing machine on the Jellicate cycle, or you might prefer like a Malabrigio Rios or some Madeline Tosh. We have lots of options in the worsted department. Next up, this is a pattern from Jazzy Steel, and she has, there we go, Rosie Birch Designs. Jazzy is one of the first people that I ever test knit patterns for, and she has a bazillion hat patterns that are frankly just fabulous. If you are new to cable knitting, or you want to try cable knitting, or if you're looking for a great cable project that is interesting, you should go check out her patterns. She's got some really fabulous hats and headbands and scarves. So, I've made a lot of these, a lot. Like I've made this, I'm like looking at her thing on Ravelry. I've made this Catalini beanie that is also super great. Oh goodness, it scrolled on me. So all of her patterns call for a light worsted or DK weight yarn. This one I made out of, and this is the Titan beanie, by the way, that I made a little extra long because I wanted it to be, I don't know, I like my hats kind of pointy. Super great with palm. This one is the Titan beanie, which I love. I really love all of her beanies. I digress. This one I made with the Baroku's vintage that I had in my stash before the yarn shop opened. And you can see like there's just super lovely cables. They come up and then they have this little twist here. Titan beanie. If I were to make this hat again with yarn that I have here in the store, because frankly, I don't love Baroku's vintage. It's a great yarn. It just isn't one of my personal favorites now that I have expanded my yarny repertoire a bit more through meeting different vendors and things in the yarny world. So for this hat, I would totally, if I were gonna remake it, make it out of the Falkland worsted. This is by far what I call a workhorse yarn, and it's one of my favorites. Like I mentioned before, her patterns need kind of a lightweight worsted or DK weight yarn, and this is a fabulous option. It fits the bill. You could go with like a thicker DK, like our Kathmandu, which is a cashmere wool, I can't remember what else is in it, blend, which would also be super amazing. Or you could try one of our Highland Luxes. That would be super awesome. You might need to adjust your gauge a little bit, but also this Malabrigio worsted would be a great option. But no matter what, you should go check Jazzy's site and select one of her patterns to knit a hat, because everybody should have a Jazzy hat to use to stay warm this winter, because they're amazing. They just really are amazing. All right, last but not least for knit patterns is the Consulate hat. So here's the cool thing about this pattern. This was a pattern that I knit up out of some yarn it was one of the very first samples that I made for the store when the store opened. And pretty much as soon as I got it on display, like the very next day, she sent out an email that she was suspending a sell of all of her patterns while she worked through updating them. Which is fine. Like, I understand from a design perspective why somebody might want to do that, but it was very frustrating for me because I made this beautiful sample and everybody loved it and I couldn't sell the pattern. So this September, I received an email from her that she had planned to re-release this pattern. Very, I don't have enough words how excited I am about this. This pattern was super fun to make. Her instructions were crazy clear. She gives you all kinds of options so you can really use whatever yarn you want. So once I put this on, you guys are gonna know exactly, if you've been in the store, you know exactly what beanie this is because you have touched it. Everybody has. This is such a popular display item. Great with or without a pom, unisex in terms of like it'll look great on a guy or a girl. Fabulous. And it has this really unique, amazing stitch pattern in it. I knit this one using a strand of our alpaca super light and a strand of lace weight yarn. So she has you make a gauge swatch, and then from there she's got all these charts and you can figure out with whatever yarn you want to use how many stitches to cast on to get each size. Excuse me. And with the pattern update, it also includes instructions for making it in 2 colors. So in this case, she used like a gradiated yarn for the base, which is this blue that gradiates into the green, and then a different color for the V's, which is super fabulous and would be an amazing way to use one of our Wonderland blossoms that we have here. But you could also, excuse me, there's just so many options with this pattern, which is why I included this pattern. Like if you've noticed, I've kind of like built in complexity here. I went with like a beginner pattern, moved up. The reason this pattern I have listed as like my most complex pattern for knitters is because there are so many options within the pattern. So you have to be able to understand how to read through those options, decide which options will work best for you, and from there, select your yarn and do the things, or select your yarn and then be able to navigate the pattern. It is not that the stitch is specifically difficult, because it's not. It is that you have to be able to navigate the pattern. And I feel like sometimes that can be the spot where we get kind of a little hiccup. So you can totally knit this out of a single skein of yarn. For example, this Madeline Tosh Rainbow would be so much fun in that pattern, and it's a fingering weight. You could pair it with one of our many colors of mohair. I'd actually use the creamier version that we have. That would be super great. I think that this hat would be particularly fabulous in some Highland Luxe, and I think you could do something crazy fun like this dewberry mohair with the Highland Luxe and create a really beautiful fabric. But like I mentioned, this pattern you can really use any size yarn with. So if you really, really love the Malabrigio worsted and you really, really love the pattern, well, she gives you all the directions in here to make it all work. So yeah, that's the thing. So the Consolate pattern is by Tiny Nonsense, which is Hunter Hammerson. And what's it called? Yeah, super great. I highly recommend the pattern. In the knit patterns, the waffle hat is free. The Jazzy's patterns usually run less than $5 a piece, I believe. And the Hunter Hammerstein pattern, let me see if I can. Oh, those are her books. Oh, it looks like she's got socks too, but I can't get distracted right now. I need to be focused. Consolate, I'm probably saying it wrong. Is $10. You can purchase it here in store. So, like I said though, it is a $10 pattern because it has so many options in it. That's one of the things that you have to be prepared for, is when you are working with patterns that are so versatile like that, then you are considering the reality that we have to be able to pay those designers for the time that it took to create said patterns. So, $10 there. Last but not least, my bonus pattern for today. That was Jace. He was bringing me my lunch because I forgot it at home. Last but not least, and I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but I should be thinking about it because it's a pattern I wrote. We have the Summit Love hat. So here's your little bonus pattern. This pattern has such a crazy fun story. So Wonderland Yarns has these randomness hat kits, which includes 3 mini skeins of worsted weight yarn. And I kept one for myself to make a sample, and the pattern that was in the label, we just really weren't loving, and excuse me. So I was like, well, I have to use up this kit. I want to use it on display. Like, what can I do with it? And on my drive with my dad from Texas to Wyoming, I was playing with the yarn and I created this design just for kicks and giggles. Well, they saw my post on Instagram and reached out to me about writing it up, which I did. And here we have it. They thankfully helped me name it because I couldn't come up with a name, and we have the Summit Love hat, and it's fabulous. This is super fun color work, not a ton of floats, and we have like, I think 2 or 3 different size options within the pattern, but they all use the hat kits from Wonderland Yarn. So super great way to try out mini skeins if you're interested. And yeah, that's what I have. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope to be making some more of these videos where I talk about some patterns that I really love that I've made, or patterns that like fit within certain categories. So I would love to have any and all of your feedback. If you found this video to be helpful, informative, and interesting, please hit the thumbs up. If you like to listen to me talk and you want to listen to me talk more about patterns and yarn and things like that, please hit subscribe. And if you would love to see more videos like this one where I talk through a series of patterns, comment below. Or if you want me to talk about a specific, oh my Lanta, a specific topic, I should have some caffeine today. Also comment below. because I could use all the inspiration. But that is all I have for today. I hope that you all have a super lovely day. And until next time, may your day be filled with light and love and yarn.